What's going on, guys? So today we have a new Miles Morales. Forgot to have that on, sorry. Anyway, we have more Miles Morales promotional material, and in this video today that we're gonna watch, it is of them interviewing the new Miles Morales, the actual facial capture and voice actor who plays Miles Morales. I've been wanting to watch this since yesterday when it came out, but I wanted to wait for you guys and give you my thoughts. So yeah, without further ado, let's watch this interview.
Take me back to the first game. Obviously, Miles Morales wasn't such a well-known household name until Into the Spider-Verse came out later in
That's
that
very
year.
true.
That must have been like when that came out, you were like, this character's going to blow up now for the next game.
Yeah, I definitely saw the uprising of Miles, and also the behind the scenes uprising as well too, because the public wasn't fully aware of the Spider-Verse, and also just what was to come in the Spider-Man game, introducing Miles. So when I have little cousins and little baby sisters and brothers that were like playing the game, like, oh, that's Miles, that's Miles. And then when they found out that Miles has his own game, they flipped. So just watching the really the before and after, being Miles with the first game, and just learning the beginning stages of where Insomniac wanted to take Miles, and wanted to present him as. So with that being said, man, I was doing the cartoon as well on Disney XD.
Oh
So I was
wow.
doing Miles for the game and the cartoon as
I
well.
had no idea he did
So
that as
just
well.
having Miles engulfed in me so much, seeing
That's
his
awesome.
growth, and he's still growing. He's only the first Miles game, so he's still growing as a young man. So it was crazy just to see his growth and his uprising in the public, and people were dying. People were dying to see that he has his own game, and that we're
Yeah,
finding
I
out
bet
about
Spider-Verse
about his life and his
helped out
background and his culture.
tremendously.
So it's gonna be crazy, man.
The first game you were Miles, and now the second game you are a year later, Miles Morales Spider-Man, right? Like, talk about that transition. Did you change your approach in any way?
Definitely. Because starting off with Miles, I wanted to just get get his genuine personality, just the innocence about him first. So it wasn't about jumping into it and being a Superman, a Spider-Man. It wasn't just jumping into it and being a hero. It was jumping into it and learning this young man, and our connection, between each other. So learning that, and then growing, just being the innocence and the youth, because in the Disney XD cartoon, he's, I want to say, 13, 14. And in the game, he's a little older, 16, 17. So just having those different, you know what I mean, going back and forth between the sessions, toning down
That's really cool that he got to
the
play
the
Miles
manliness,
on
growing into
Disney
Miles,
XD
and
as
then
well.
coming into the booth, and then doing the kid voice of Miles. It's a trip,
Is this
man.
new swinging
It's a
footage?
huge trip, but it also helped a lot,
I think it
because
is.
it kind of put me in that mind state of when he is Spider-Man, when he is owning up to fighting the villains, and he is a
I
different
love the
person. He's
animation.
not
He's
that
more
kid
like
anymore.
a,
He's
I
that
don't know,
man. He's
not
that
as
fighter.
refined in
That
his
you know what I
swinging.
mean.
He's
He's
kind of
that
just
leader.
like,
So it was a
I don't know
great
how to explain
transition,
it.
but I also needed it to just to blend everything well together. You know what I mean? To make it human, if that makes sense. To make it just human and natural and organic. So yeah, when I first went into Miles, I wanted just to learn just the innocence about him, the pureness about him. And then, growing into that, he's smart, he's a genius, he's a straight A student. Like, dude is smart. You know what I mean? So learning that first and getting in tune with that. And then when the superhero kicked in, then it was like a whole other, Nadji kind of stepped in, then I kind of put myself in there too. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, cool. That was really the transition. Yeah, man. It was amazing though. I love it. I love it to death.
I was curious, at what point in the process when you were working on the last game were they like, hey, do you want your own game? Like, what was that conversation like?
It's a great question.
I thought that guy had a
Great
PewDiePie
question.
chair
It
for a
was
second.
actually, man, the launch we had for the first game. I don't know if you all saw the launch, but it was me, Yuri, Brian Intar, and Mr. Negative, and Black Widow, and it was our first launch for the first game. And then
Black
Brian,
Widow.
who was our creative director for that one, he took me aside, and he was like, "Hey, man, how do you feel about
Black Widow.
having
What?
your own game and having making Miles his own thing?" And I was like, "I'm ready." He was like, I'm ready. But I had to take care of some, business side and business stuff on the side. So I told him like, yeah, I'm ready, man. Let's do it. I'm gonna let you know when everything is set in stone and ready to go.
Would you go over to Yuri and you're like, oh, sorry, man?
Oh yeah. No. Me and Yuri, man. I was like, Yuri, you have to let me know how many sessions there are about to be and how many, how much work did you put in? Like, because I'm telling you, it was so many aspects that we had to learn. Like, Yuri had to teach me how to swing in the booth. Because Miles wasn't swinging in the first game, so Yuri taught me what he did.
Yeah, that's
what
true.
Oh, while you're doing your lines?
Yeah, while you're doing the lines, So
That's
swinging and doing
an
the lines,
awesome
Yuri taught
touch.
me
I
that.
love that they do
And
that.
he taught me, just it's all about the core. It's all about moving the core and getting all this getting all this flowing and stuff. So it was hilarious because we went through so many phases of knowing what a good swing sounds like in the booth. And that's when, Yuri really, really helped me out a lot, man. And, I thank him to this day.
So he really was your mentor, just like Peter was.
We remember we had him come in and we did sort of a session about like, we all sat together, me, you, Brian, and Yuri.
Yeah.
And then we got Nadji his own Miles Morales gloves with silly string, and then he just sprayed everyone in the whole.
Yeah, that's when
it's like we had Yuri give him the gift just like he did in the game, and the gift with these silly string Miles Morales things. It was a fun time.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was great. That's when we had literally had all the cast together. We had finally got all the cast together, and we were just really ready to go into the sessions and just make it ours, And then that just being that, Yuri coming in and just doing all that, it just made everything just come in together where it was like, okay, we're ready to do this. We're ready.
I'm so excited for this game.
I text him to this day, call him. He texted me last week checking in on my family. So me and Yuri, man, like I love him to death, man. Me and Yuri is, like this in real life too, not just, for the cameras and stuff. Like seriously, like people know that too. Like people know me and Yuri have like such a really good relationship off camera too. It's
That's
ridiculous.
Great. That's great.
Did you guys do any motion capture, and like, did you guys finish production before the world kind of fell apart with COVID and everything? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
Nadji, and we shot for about close to like a year and a half, I think, is what we had in shooting. I think that's about right, Naj.
It's like like a year and a half too.
Yeah, year and a half too.
Yeah.
We were doing VO all the way through, right? So we did a tremendous amount of VO towards the end.
That's more shooting than like a typical Spider-Man movie.
The performance capture done before the COVID hit, and that was great. So we got most of
Thank God.
Yeah, full performance on there. But there was a couple reshoots that we had to do, and Naj did fantastic VO, and we had other actors that were up in Canada just to be able to perform that because we just had to get new scenes created. But I would say 99% of what you see in there is going to be Naj and then the talented stunt actors that work with him. And we try to give Naj
that looks so awesome.
Tell him, man. Tell him all the actual blood, sweat, and tears.
All of it. Like, oh my gosh. He practiced. We had the mocap actors come in who are stunt doubles, and we did actually a Spider-Man training session on how to pose, how to get all those iconic Spider-Man poses. And Nadji did the work. He came in, he worked on it, and his vertical is insane. Like every time he had to jump out of the volume, it was like, Nadji, hold on, don't get hurt. I mean, he was method Miles Morales on the stage.
Curious too, like, do you already speak Spanish? Because I know what Miles does. Or did you have to do anything to like study up on that?
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, we actually had a few sessions, a few coaching sessions, just to get the dialogue down because he's New Rican, so it's a mix between Puerto Rican and just a New York dialect too as well. So just learning Spanish, in general wasn't well. Of course, I took Spanish in high school. But that was just regular Spanish, and I didn't pass. But that's a different story. That's a whole different story. So with this one, it was Puerto Rican, and
school Spanish is very different from actual Spanish.
Engineer, he was a Latina descent as well. So he told me the differences between of having just regular, Mexican Spanish and then Puerto Rican Spanish. And he said it's a difference. So we had to go through a whole, training session of learning the different dialects with that as well. But yeah,
we had a consultant as well who is Puerto Rican descent working with Nadji too. So it was like let's make sure we get it right, and Nadji did the work to make sure that we got that as much authenticity as we possibly could on the Puerto Rican Spanish.
Nadji, you need to take the game to your Spanish teacher and be like, look, you did all right. Can I get a passing grade?
It was so crazy. I was homeschooled since like 4th grade. So it wasn't even the best like Spanish class.
Oh wow, that's
and doing
terrible.
Through like Rosetta Stone. So it was, I want to take it again. I want to take it again because I'm a little more fluent now, a little more,
Yeah, I think so. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like, I think Miles rightfully is finally getting his day in the sun, and I think this game is a huge part of that, of pushing him even further into the cultural.
What microphone is that?
Nadji, do you think about that, and like, do you think about the impact you're making with Miles in that regard?
Oh man, definitely, man. I mean, it's to a point where it gets me lost for words because it's so overwhelming. But at the same time, it's like, man, this is really what kids need. Like the new generation coming up, everything that's going on in America right now, they don't know. They don't fully understand. You know what I mean? What it is. So that's my thing. It's like for this new generation that's coming up and seeing the younger kids that I have under me, like my little cousins and my friends, little brothers and sisters. I have a little niece. Just for them seeing it. It gets you speechless because it tells you like, okay, this is what we didn't have growing up. We only saw, a few here and there, but for young little boys, that growing up and they look like Miles and they want to, you know what I mean? It means a lot, man. Like it means a lot because it's so much crap going on in the world right now, man, for us. And it's just like, we need that balance to especially for the kids, man, just to make sure everything is going to be all right. They're not scared. They're not hopeless. You know what I mean? None of that. But also too with the different cultures that we're hitting in this game and also the different aspects that we're hitting. We have so many things that are going to surprise people that we brought to the game. And it's so many like crowds. I'm telling you, I'm watching what I'm saying, but like
you're doing a great job, Nadji.
You'll get it. Like we have so many aspects and areas that we're hitting that so many people are going to, feel related to and they're going to be very pleased that we touch these subjects.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. God, that music's so good every time I hear it. Okay, so that was a really interesting and funny interview with the Miles Morales voice actor and method actor now. That's pretty cool to know like how hard they worked on this game. There's some games that come out and they're kind of you can just tell how much effort went into them, and a lot of times it's disappointing. But for this one, I mean, I wasn't expecting this much effort to go into this game because a lot of us were just assuming that this is kind of more like a DLC to the Spider-Man game, but this feels like an entirely different game, entirely different creative team, basically. Like this is a different creative director from the first game, and I'm really happy about that. I mean, I think one of the main reasons why they're putting out so much promotional material about these type of things, like these types of interviews, is to let people know that this isn't just like an add-on. This isn't a DLC. This is its own experience, and it's awesome to see Miles Morales become more popular and be embedded in pop culture. I mean, he's already got his own movie, he's got his own game now, and he's gonna get his own second movie not too long from now. And I think they really benefited from having Miles just be Miles in the first game. Like they had so much time to just develop his character, develop who he is as a person, not as a superhero. So then when he becomes a superhero, we feel all the more connected to him. I think that's genius. I think that's awesome that we had that time instead of like 10 minutes of them being normal and then boom, they're heroes, which happens a lot like in movies where you don't really get to feel who they were before. It's like they're normal, boom, hero. Now you know them as a hero. We know Miles as Miles Morales, and then he becomes Spider-Man. So that's just really cool. And yeah, the more I watch these videos, the more I want to get my hands on the game. Super excited. I can't say that enough. That's pretty much all I have to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. If you want to see the whole thing without me talking in the background, I'll leave a link in the description. That's enough out of me. Remember to like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you next time.